that's what I guess forces people to fraternities and college staff. Especially so for people under 21, but who still want to do something on a
So
weekend.
the late night programming concept that might or might not have a pub attached to it in Willard Straight is something that you think is worth our pursuing.
But like more just social events where you can meet more people. But that's almost Cornell sponsored. Most of the stuff that happens on a Friday or Saturday night you just don't hear enough about because they're niche. It's like maybe salsa, but everyone thought it'd be salsa, or just more events.
So what kind of
What kind of it?
So, for example, I usually end up playing sports on a Friday or Saturday night, or just hang out with friends. But like a dance or something that that's Cornell sponsored.
Well, Cornell, the administration doesn't sponsor social activity, so it's trying to figure out what's the student group we can encourage to take on that. I mean, I don't think you want someone Andre's age, my age, planning a social
activity. More, so, for example, on Friday nights, Cookhouse has the sort of the party plan, which is like video games and whatnot, and board games, which is, but if you want something more specific, they tend to happen less regularly. Like Cookhouse Forum and Rosehouse Forum last week had the dance party and mocktails event. I don't know if you were anything down there, but if that's something, if you wanted something more like that on a more regular basis, I mean, that's something that, I think the forums will be excited about putting together, and that would be a time while making that work. Especially if we share them among the houses.
But I was like, even for North Campus,
Yeah.
because it's most likely on North.
Yeah.
So the programming councils aren't coming up with enough going on in Robert Purcell's Hotel.
Not at night, especially on the weekends.
What other things are you thinking of other than dances? Or are you thinking most of the dances?
Just places where you can meet people, Because the whole point, I feel, colleges, try to meet as many people as possible. So just avenues where, some kind of event, maybe, late night, some singer or Moby.
Karaoke nights and stuff are
But those are more, I feel those are, very niche.
So we could look at the level of West Campus to want something every once a week at the houses. Something like that, but the question is what, it was very interesting. I asked the House Forum a while ago to come up with an ID for something really fun for you guys to do, and 3 months later they haven't come with an ID. And you remember this box where you could write your IDs, put in your IDs? They haven't come back to me. I said, I'll give you $5,000 to organize something.
What? Most people wanted to clone Kyler.
Susan, should know that, but there's no secret. I said, because I have a gift.
It's great.
I have a gift from a donor, and I said, I want to use this for the students. I want them to tell me what you want to do with it. And they haven't come back to me. I thought, a dance party, something, somebody, whatever, a nice event, and they really haven't come back to me, which surprised me.
So here's one of my theories about this, but I'd be curious about your reaction. What you're suggesting is, you're not the first to have said that. But the way you've said it is also not the first I've heard it, which I want Cornell to do. So this challenge, it's the challenge of creating the time among the students to do it, as opposed to having us do it for them. I think is a challenge, and I'm not going to buy into that, because it might work for the first month or two, but once it's the administration doing it, well, A, we couldn't do it, we wouldn't be successful, and B, I think the students would migrate away from it. Well, that's what the old folks are doing, it's not the student. But I think there is a bit of an inertia. It's a desire, but not a compelling enough one yet, that it's energizing the students to go ahead and, because it takes, to put on a dance every Friday night for the whole year, it's just
A way to do it would be to encourage the Greek system to do it. But
well, that may be coming.
But without the
Right. So they're going to. So I have sitting on my desk two things. One, actually, it's one thing and another discussion. One is the report coming from the Student Assembly around the late night programming, and it's in response to the changes coming in the Greek system, with first-year students not being allowed to be at Greek events that have alcohol starting in the fall. And when that change was being advanced, the essay, Vincent rightly said to me, well, how come we're not involved in the conversation? Because we fund everything else. And I said, you're right, we were just starting the conversation because we were focused on the Greek system and the changes within. We were gonna get to you, but we just haven't gotten there yet. So they've done a lot of work thinking about this Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. It's why they're looking at trying to turn the Ivy Room / Oakham Shields, probably the Ivy Room, into a pub. Whether we're going to serve beer or not is still up for question, but have it become a regular place for people to go hang out. And it could have karaoke some nights, it could have guitar performers, it could have singers, it could have DJ, it could just be come and get a mocktail, or if we end up serving beer and you're 21, and just hang out with your friends. So that concept is emerging, but at the same time what we've been trying to encourage the Greek system is to say, first of all, your social scene among your own members can continue. You've got your own event guidelines, you have to figure out how to honor those. But there's nothing that's going to prevent you from sponsoring an event for first-year students or anybody else without alcohol. So take all your social planning skills, which are highly refined, and benefit a broader community. If part of what you were doing these large parties was to meet people, well, bring to bear that, but just leave the alcohol out of it. Now, I think it's going to take us 2 or 3 years because until we get rid of, until the folks graduate into the old system, it's just going to be, you took something away from me. It's not that I have something different to do. But if we're successful 4 years from now, you may find that that's exactly what will start happening.
Maybe a way would be to, give the Greek system an incentive, to do what, something without alcohol. Like
How do you make sure, or how do you know that they're not having these parties anyway?
I mean, they're going to happen in addition, for...
Well, there's going to be an enforcement aspect, and there's going to be a concern, just as we've seen with Slope Day.
But a positive.
Well, it'll migrate off campus into College Town, and that's part of our issue of having to think about how do we prevent that from happening in the main. I don't think it'll all migrate to College Town. I think some of it will go away, and if I'm a member of a Greek organization, so I should say we. If we really believe in our self-governed system, then if these are the rules, we need to work by them. Otherwise, there'll be consequences that our peers will put upon us. So, but I'm not so naive as to